What's going on, comic fans? It's Mike from the Hardcover Comic here. Today we're going to do an Omnibus Wishlist video. For those of you tuning in for the first time, that means we're going to talk about a series or a run that I think deserves an Omnibus series, either one or two Omnis, depending on the size of the series, and talk about why. Show off the custom binds that I've got usually in these cases because I figured I would make my own Omnibus, and talk about the series a little. So let's talk about Northlanders. All right, before we dive into things, scratch it. All right, before we get started, though, please hit that subscribe button if you're a fan of comics. If you're new to the channel, we post content daily talking about comic books, hardcovers, wishlist stuff, live streaming, all kinds of things, whatever, everything and anything comics. Be sure to check out Dr. Squatch too. They're our sponsor. They're a soap subscription company. Basically, they'll bring you a soap to your door every month, one, two, however many you want. They have really cool scents, unique scents. Some are even, beer based. So it's really cool. Matt uses them. He loves their products. They're also expanding to other men's healthcare products. So check out their website. There's a link down in the description below that will take you to their website. And if you use that link, you'll get free shipping on your subscription if you decide to sign up, which is cool. Free shipping is always great. You can also check out our Patreon. There's a link down in the description below. We're doing hardcover comic giveaways every month. We recently just picked out our winner for the month of March. Surf and Skate won the Harleen hardcover. That's going to be getting over to him or her. I'm not really sure. Sometime soon. So that's what we're doing. We're giving away digital codes whenever we can as well. So check that out. Link down in the description below. Northlanders is one of those series that is an underrated gem. It's sort of fallen under a lot of people's radars, which is a pretty common theme I've noticed for Brian Wood books. Folks that are fans of Brian Wood are huge fans of his writing, and they pretty much follow everything he does. Anyway, Northlanders is a fantastic series that ran for, I think, around 60 issues at Vertigo, taking place sort of, in the medieval times, focusing on Vikings, folks that lived in the Northlands, Europe, Slavic countries, stuff like that. A lot of violence, a lot of religion, a lot of really cool Norse mythology, and just a fun time. It's a really fun time. It gets very dark. It gets very dreary at times, granted, but it's a really cool way to sort of simulate what that life might have been like. These people didn't have TV. They didn't have entertainment. Their whole thing was swinging swords and hoping that someone didn't invade. Sometimes it was just a single household, right? Just hanging out by itself. They had their own little farm. And so that's sort of what we've got in this series. The two Omnis I've got here were custom binds. They're custom Omnis, I guess you could say. And the weirdest thing about Northlanders, so I had this done with the trade paperbacks, the recent 3 volumes that were released by DC Comics. And let's see if that looks better. A little connecting spine there. This design was done for me by Ben Williams, who no longer does these, I don't think, unless he's changed his mind. But you can see there's a pretty big disparity in the size, and why that is because the trade paperbacks basically didn't have the content in chronological order in terms of releases. So I think the first volume was like 1 through 16, and then 19 through 21, and maybe issue 40. And then volume 2 was issues like 22 through 36 or so. You know what I mean? So it was broken up based on sort of the kind of people they were looking at. So like Anglo-Saxon was one, there was Icelandic, and so they broke it up that way, and it kind of made an awkward bind in terms of the sizing. They're not exactly even, and I kind of regret the way I did this, because while it makes sense the way DC collected them, essentially what will happen at times is you'll see a character return later on. But it doesn't really affect the overall story, because the overall story is really, it's sort of an anthology series. You do see some characters return in multiple arcs, but overall the idea is that there's all these different tales happening at different times during the era of Vikings, right? And it's really, really awesome. There are some fantastic artists that join Brian Wood on this series. It's a really fun series. It's one that I'm definitely going to revisit because of the style that it is. The variation in the stories. It's a book I like to revisit once in a while and read a select story. If there's a story I'm flipping through, I'm like, I don't remember this one that much, I'll reread it. But there are some that I will remember. Like there's in the first volume, there's a great story about these women who are they're basically they're Northlandish women, and they basically fight off. I forget what army it was, the English army, maybe the Anglo-Saxons. They basically fight them off. These three women. It's really cool. Brian Wood's done a lot of books. He really has, and that's not even including like his Marvel stuff. I don't know if he's done anything with DC, but like I said, the Massive, Northlanders. Is it Black Road, North Road? I forget. Black Road. That was an Image 10-issue series he did. It's great. I like Brian Wood. I like him a lot. He had a little stint on Moon Knight after Warren Ellis, which was really cool. And he's sort of an underrated writer. So what I was thinking with the fact that it's 60 issues, just split it down the middle, as much down the middle as you can, making sure the storylines are intact. I don't think I would necessarily care if they're keeping it with these sort of this region vibe, because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So I would just like it if they just did 1 through 30, 31 through 60, if that's possible. I'm not sure how the stories fall, but make it 2 volumes. Don't try and cram it all into 1 volume. And I'm just not sure why the series hasn't gotten more attention. There aren't. I mean, I guess there were a lot of comic series similar to this, just sort of historical violence, but I don't know. I haven't read too many of them. I mean, there must have been some, but I just feel like this is a series that should have gotten the oversized hardcover treatment, at least deluxes, the same way DMZ got deluxes. Thankfully, that book got deluxes. I don't know if we'll see a compendium for this. I think these trade paperbacks, these 3 volumes that I used to bind this with, are not really available anymore. I think they've gone, out of print. At least some of them have. I think maybe 1 or 2 are available, but they're a little expensive too. So I mean, people need a way to buy these things. But like in terms of artists and artwork on this book, I mean, you've got names like Fiona Staples, Becky Cloonan, Paul Azaceta, Declan Shalvey, Daniel Zezelch. I mean, really good artists, man. That's a great list of artists. Granted, this is them, before they got to the point where they're at now, but I mean, still, it's fantastic artwork, and it's a little stylized at times. Of course, these are some pretty stylized artists that you've got here, guys like Dean Ormstrom, Ryan Kelly, David John Felice, a lot of really stylized artists. But I think it works, for each story has sort of an atmosphere behind it, and I think the way the artists were paired worked really well. It worked really well. They all added sort of an atmosphere to the story, and I like the variety, and I think it's all worthy of being in an oversized hardcover. The only thing I would ask is that the oversized hardcover have this newsprint paper, because I think that's how it was originally printed, and it looks the best. I think the colors, the way they were done in the trade paperback, were fantastic, and I would pretty much keep it the same format, just bigger paper, This would be such a wonderful series to get oversized. I would definitely buy it, even though I have these. I would definitely double dip on that, just because, again, I don't think Brian Wood gets enough support, and I think he deserves some more support. So I definitely do recommend checking out the series if you can. Read it digitally, get the trades if you possibly can. But it's really good, especially if you're into, anything Viking related, anything swords. Swords and shields. There's no sorcery here. This is trying to be a little realistic. Bows and arrows, all that stuff. It's all in here, and it's all really well done. There's some great stories about the human spirit, and just people trying to survival. Big on survival. It's great. I highly recommend it. It's a different, a change of pace from the usual superhero stuff, absolutely, and even a lot of the indie stuff can feel a little repetitive at times. So a book like Northlanders definitely does stand out, and I hope we get to see an omnibus for this someday. 2 volumes, I think that's all it would take, or 1 super massive volume that's unreadable. But we'll see what happens. Alternatively, you do maybe 4 deluxes, 5 if you really want to stretch it. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think of Northlanders? Have you read the series? What are your thoughts on it? Would you buy these Omnis? Have you been waiting for Northlanders Omni? Let us know down below in the comments. If you stuck around this long, please be sure to subscribe. This is what we do every day. If you like this, you're gonna like whatever other videos come out. I guarantee it. Check out our Patreon if you want to go the extra mile. For as little as $1, you have a chance to win a deluxe edition or an omnibus or an absolute edition every month. That's what we're doing. Giveaways down in the description below. There's a link for our Patreon. Check that out. And check out Dr. Squatch if you're looking for a soap subscription service. They bring soap to your door every month along with other men's healthcare products if you fancy. And with the link down in the description below, you get free shipping on your entire subscription for life. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Check that stuff out. This was Mike from the Hardcover Comic. Hope you guys are all staying safe, and until next time, you stay classy, Internet.